Chief Lunn is not here. Captain Newell is. And Captain Newell, I believe that you do have an update to provide with regards to events that occurred on Saturday or allegedly occurred on Saturday. Your microphone's on? Is your mic on? Just keep it close to you. For some reason, it's not picking up.
My name's John Newell. I'm the captain of the police department in Newtown Township. Here to address some of the concerns or issues that some of the residents have regarding an incident that occurred Saturday night, August 8th, at 4126 Westchester Pike. There was a party held at that residence. The first police call was about 7 o'clock at night, and that was just advising we had received an anonymous complaint through the 911 center that was third party through the Philadelphia Dispatch Center of a possible fight at the address or the parking lot of the Drexel Lodge, and that somebody may be bringing mace to the event. Our officers responded. There was no fight in the park. They responded to residents. They were met by the private security out front of the residents who spoke with our officers. They were professional. They were cooperative with the police officers that were there. The homeowner was asked to come out. The homeowner came out, spoke with the police, invited the police to come into the backyard to confirm that there was no fight taking place or any other acts of violence. Our officer went out back, looked around. Clearly, there were no fights or any other acts of violence going on at the event. The homeowner advised the police that they were professional. They were cooperative with the police officers that were there. The homeowner was asked to come out. The homeowner came out, spoke with the police, invited the police to come into the backyard to confirm that there was no fight taking place or any other acts of violence. Our officer went out back, looked around. Clearly, there were no fights or any other acts of violence going on at the event. The homeowner advised the police that they're welcome to stop back if they got any more complaints, just to verify that there was no public safety issues as far as any violent acts or anything else. Our officers left. They did advise the homeowner because of the fact that there were some vehicles parked in the Drexel Lodge parking lot. Those vehicles would have to be removed prior to dark, which is our typical. It's a township ordinance. There are no vehicles allowed after dark. The homeowner advised that he would take care of that, and once dark came, there were no vehicles in the park. At about 10:30 that night, we got a report through the 911 center of a motor vehicle accident, non-reportable, basically meaning there was a minor motor vehicle accident. Our officers arrived. It was a 3-car accident. It involved one of the employees working at the event pulling out of a driveway. When that person pulled out of a driveway, there was another driver in the eastbound lane of Westchester Pike that rear-ended another car. At that time, there was a large amount of people leaving the party. It was about 10 o'clock at night. The party was basically was ending at 10 o'clock at night, and all the people at the party were leaving the party itself at 10, congregated on the roadway, and were causing a traffic issue. Our officers addressed the traffic issue, eventually got everybody off the road, got the cars on the way, and then cleared the scene sometime around a little bit after 11 o'clock at night. Once they cleared the scene, we received no further calls that entire night. As far as any accusations or comments that were on social media saying that the police were notified weeks before about all these parties are simply not true. We ran the address in our database. We received no calls whatsoever about any large parties or anything else going on at that address in 2026. They had one call in 2025 of a noise complaint about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They responded to the house, and there was no issues with any kind of noise complaint or anything else. As far as guns being pointed at people, we have no reports whatsoever of any guns being pointed at anybody. There were armed security guards at the event. the resident is more than welcome and to hire private security with guns or without guns. It's fully within the right of to be a property owner. It's also our Second Amendment right to carry open carry in public unless you're a convicted felon. But at no time were any guns pointed at anybody, nor did we ever receive of any from anybody, whether it was the victim uh, in the car accident itself, at the party, neighbors around the party. We received no complaints of any kind of firearms violations whatsoever. Um, as far as the advertisements that were on social media, there's thousands of those advertisements online. It would be impossible to look at every one. And even if we did look at every one, if you've seen those advertisements, they don't disclose the location of the party until 2 days prior. The only time they disclose it is once you pay the bill to go to the party, they'll let you know where the address is. So even if we had some kind of 10-man data processing center to look at every ad on Facebook or Instagram for those parties, we wouldn't know it was in Newtown unless we paid $40 to everyone to get the actual location. So we had no way of knowing that this party was going to be held. If we did, the township would have addressed it as such prior to the event. But anything on social media as far as us knowing, the township being aware of it, they're simply not true. Um, any violations concerning payment to get into the party are going to be addressed by the Township Codes Department. That's their responsibility. There's not a police function. Any rule or violations concerning liquor law violations, they'll be addressed by the Pennsylvania State Police Bureau of Liquor Control. They're a civilian version, a civilian branch of the Pennsylvania State Police, and they handle any liquor control violations. Again, that is not a local law enforcement. We have no responsibility into that. And that's typically handled over the course of multiple complaints. Bar owners, underage drinking, Eagles game, tailgate parties with underage drinking, those kind of things. But again, not part of the local law enforcement's responsibilities. That's addressed by the civilian branch of the Pennsylvania State Police. And all those issues will be addressed now that we are aware of that part of what happened at the house. It's already being addressed. It was addressed today. And if the owner does not comply with the township's recommendations, then they'll address it. But the owner was cooperative that night, and I have no reason to believe that he won't continue to cooperate once we express that they're not going to be having any more parties there.
So John, just a few follow-up questions. No criminal activity was found.
No criminal activity was found. The only thing that would even be borderline would be once the people were leaving the party, some people were slow to leave, kind of lingering on the highway, but that's no different than when we have soccer games going on up there, people won't leave or anything else. Again, we're not going to arrest people simply because they're just not leaving when we're asking. Had it been a continuous problem, had there been somebody making threats, something like that, that would have been something we would have acted on.
Got it. And the thought of armed security at a party is actually something that is not uncommon in Newtown Township.
Oh, as a matter of fact, 3 months ago at the PGA event, I am aware of at least two parties that were held at private residence with armed security.
Got it. And so the accusations or comments that there were multiple 911 calls, that's just not accurate.
Not accurate. There are no prior 911 calls for 4126 Westchester Pike for any kind of large parties or violations. That night itself, there was the initial third party complaint that came in around 7 o'clock at night. There was the accident report, and then the officers remained on scene to assist with traffic. Now, people may have called during that time about the traffic jam, but the police were already there, so they would not have relayed that to the officers because the radio room would have already known we were already there. So,
but essentially by 11:30, the scene was cleared and there was no further activity there.
There was no 911 calls after that, and the scene was eventually cleared with the people on Westchester Pike around 11 o'clock. Whether there were people in the backyard, I couldn't tell you because we didn't receive any complaints about
But
it.
not a raging party till 2:30 in the morning.
No.
Okay. Now, if there's any other questions from the board to Captain Newell, I'll let the board ask them, and then we'll turn it over to the solicitor to talk from a high level about the civil enforcement, because this really is nothing more than just a zoning enforcement issue. This is not a criminal issue based off of what the police officers saw. But I think what Captain Newell has provided to the public and to this board yet again is important. As we've seen, unfortunately, through the power and curse of social media, is that when any entity puts out facts, there's always individuals who are able to just blatantly lie. But the facts are the facts, and I think that's what's important tonight for our residents to hear. So is there any other questions for Captain Newell?
I don't have any other questions, but I just want to say that I appreciate you taking the time to provide the accurate information and clear up what actually happened. That's how we continue to build trust in our community. So thank you.
One thing I did want to address, because I did see things about somebody bearing a vest saying agent with a rifle that approached the car of the young girl that was driving the car. There was, as far as I know, there was one security officer that went up to the car to make sure the girl was okay. Once he confirmed that, the police arrived, he walked away. The person that I saw was not carrying any kind of rifle. That's not to say she didn't see somebody maybe on the property, but no one approached her with a pointed gun. Matter of fact, the person working the event actually went over to make sure she was okay.
And when you say you saw, it's because you reviewed the body cam footage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Perfect. Mr. Solicitor?
I got just one more question because I see all this stuff online too. During a law enforcement call, when you're out on the scene or before you get there, is there any way that supervisors are involved in that? The township supervisor, is there like a call to say, hey, don't do something because we don't want problems, or is that, how does that work?
No, it's not a thing.
So the township supervisors are not involved in law enforcement at all?
No.
So when there's not crime committed, right? So the police aren't actually arresting people when there's no crime, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
But there might be other things, and that's where the township gets involved outside of law enforcement. So some things are violations of the township code, but they're not criminal in nature. Those, for instance, the zoning code. You live in a single family